Welcome back into another edition of the Motor City Faceoff. We're here at Little Caesars Arena. I'm Genna alongside fellow Detroit native Jason Ross Jr. The Wings are here and gearing up for their 5th game of a 6-game homestand tonight at 7:30 p.m. against the Nashville Predators. And Jason, we're going to be previewing that matchup for everyone and more.
So much more coming up on today's episode of the Faceoff. We will recap last Saturday's win over Florida and then dissect what the Wings could potentially translate from that win to tonight against Nashville. We are also going to look ahead to our Prospect Watch segment, where today we'll dissect Detroit's 4th overall pick, Lucas Raymond, and what he could bring down the road to the Red Wings roster. And we'll look all the way down to the 2021 NHL Draft, which right now is scheduled for mid-July. So plenty coming up on today's episode of the Faceoff. Detroit managed to get back in the win column last Saturday night against the Florida Panthers with a 2-1 victory. Since then, they've had a couple of days to rest, to recover, and prepare for tonight's matchup with the Predators. But first off, let's talk about how the Wings managed to pick up win number 5 on the season.
Well, that was the first time in 7 tries that the Red Wings were able to steal a win from the Florida Panthers. When we go back earlier in the season, the Wings actually delivered Florida their first loss in regulation. And on Saturday, that was the first time the Panthers lost in regulation on the road. And Jay, I feel like I'm just going to keep saying the word regulation over and over again, but that also marked the first time that it was a 1-goal game that the Panthers lost without going into overtime. So that truly just speaks volumes to how well the Panthers are performing in the Central Division. And switching over to the Red Wings side of things, during that matchup, they got off on the right foot. Well, to be corny here, they got off on the right skate defensively. There was more traffic in front of the net. There were more puck battles, and they were able to clear out their zone better. Now, offensively, unfortunately, in the last 10 of their 12 matchups, they've scored 2 goals or less. So hopefully we'll see more momentum moving forward, especially coming into this matchup tonight against the Nashville Predators. However, when we go back to that matchup, Patrick Nemeth actually had his first goal in 71 games. And that came off, that was a byproduct of a Luke Glendening offensive zone face-off win. Matthias Brome also found the back of the net with his first ever NHL goal in a Red Wings uniform. Darren Helm started Saturday's game on the line alongside Larkin and Mantha. Head coach Jeff Blashill made a change that paid dividends in the form of Brome's first NHL goal and point. Even with Helm on the line, the trio had a fair share of chances, so hopefully the Wings can build on that today. And both of those goals came during the second period. So Jason, the Wings are actually 5-0 on the season when they're leading after the second period. So we need to keep an eye on that middle frame, because that play there, that could be crucial.
Yeah, another one of those 5 wins actually came the last time they played Nashville, which turned out to be a 4-2 victory. Now on the Predators side of things, when you examine both teams today, you want to translate what you did last Saturday night into today. Nashville's coming off a 4-2 win of their own against Columbus last Saturday, and it was arguably their best performance of the season. Right from the get-go against the Jackets, they were quicker to pucks, good in all 3 zones, applying offensive zone pressure. Forward Kelly Yarncroke actually called it probably our best performance of the season so far. The shot total turned out to be 45-23 in favor of the Preds, which was their most shots all season long. So they'll certainly have a jump early on, and I'm looking to see if the Red Wings can match that. Another key for the Red Wings today, Jen, one common thread in their victories this season, we saw it last Saturday, you just pointed it out with Brome and Nemeth, first in 71 games for Nemeth, is the secondary scoring. Even if you don't get goals out of the other 3 lines, at least applying offensive zone pressure on a consistent basis will certainly pay dividends and keep the Predators on their heels more often than not, if it's not just that top line working for the Red Wings. So I'm looking to see that. Those 3 things I think will be very important for both sides, but specifically keying in on those first 3 minutes today.
And realistically, for the Detroit Red Wings, for them to start getting these wins, they need to find a groove with their power play. They're currently 4 of 62, and they've taken a hit not having Tyler Bertuzzi. 3 of those 4 goals were from Bertuzzi. So here we are with an injury update.
Well, he skated, I think, on Saturday, and didn't, it's just the reaction to how he skates. Some days it's fine, and some days he didn't skate today. So when he skates again after today, I don't have that answer. It's a thing we're just going to have to keep kind of going through it. Now, the longer he's out, the longer it's going to take for him to get back once he does feel closer to 100%. So we'll have to just wait and see.
Detroit Red Wings general manager Steve Yzerman said on Monday that he hopes the league moves back the 2021 NHL draft. The draft is currently slated for July 23rd through the 24th. And Jason, who are the potential candidates that we could see in a Red Wings uniform someday?
Yeah, well, Detroit will have 6 picks in this upcoming draft and likely bound to have another top 5 pick as they did in the fall of 2020. So, I think if the pendulum swings in their favor, maybe even a top 3 selection, and the Red Wings over the past few years have tried to particularly build up their blue line, a defensive core that has struggled in recent years, and this is a 2021 draft that is absolutely stocked with potential top 10 caliber defensemen. Names such as Luke Hughes, who's the younger brother of Quinn and Jack, both in the NHL right now. You have Owen Power, who's at Michigan, a 6'6", very strong defenseman. Simon Edvinsson with Frölunda, and Brandt Clark is another name with Barrie. So those are names I think could potentially be in a Red Wings uniform down the road here.
Well, Jason, what's interesting about the names that you mentioned is that they all play on the left side, and as you said, that's been a relatively thin area for the Detroit Red Wings in previous years. Luke Hughes, he plays for the national team's development program. As you mentioned, Owen Powers plays for the University of Michigan. Both of those players are in Red Wings territory, and to talk about where the Red Wings like to scout over in Sweden, Simon Edvinsson, despite travel restrictions, currently plays for Frölunda alongside Red Wings draft pick Lucas Raymond, and Sweden proves to be a second home for Red Wings scouting, especially when it comes to defensemen. We were talking about the future of the Wings, so we're going to go forward with our prospect watch.
Well, as we move into our prospect segment, we're happy to report that Red Wings defenseman prospect Mo Seider is back on the ice after missing the past few weeks with an injury. Not so happy to report that Red Wings' 4th overall draft pick in the 2021 draft, Lucas Raymond, will miss approximately the next 8 weeks after undergoing a procedure on his arm/elbow region. However, Jen, we're here to provide reason for Red Wings fans to be excited about Lucas Raymond in particular in our Prospect Watch segment today and what he could bring to the roster down the road.
Well, Raymond already describes himself as a mix between Artemi Panarin from the New York Rangers and Mitch Marner of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Jason, that would not be a bad blend of skill sets. And we've already seen some glimpses of those. Raymond, he just wants to make plays, whether it's shooting or passing, and he has an ample amount of speed, which allows him to make the plays in tight areas. And when we dial in on Mitch Marner, he's actually ranked second, or he's tied for second in the NHL for most points this season. He currently leads the team with 30. So for him to potentially become a future Marner for this franchise would be extremely exciting for Red Wings fans.
I wouldn't mind a Marner-Panarin blend in a Red Wings uniform at some point down the road here. And on the note of Lucas Raymond, when he was initially being scouted by NHL scouts, he was only 17 years of age, trying to break into a men's league in the SHL and playing fewer than 10 minutes per game. However, this season with Frölunda, his role has increased, and Raymond, despite the injury, is actually currently tied for most points among all SHL players under the age of 19 with 18 through 32 games. So that number should continue to grow when he gets back out onto the ice. And something, G, that I thought was so fun in our last Prospect Watch segment was breaking down what Mo Seider could bring to the power play down the road. A Red Wings power play that fans are yearning for improvement on. And I think eventually, when Raymond does arrive here in Detroit, he could bring some improvement to the man advantage. You look at the 1-3-1 formation on the right flank, you typically have Filip Zadina with that wicked left-handed shot of his. Maybe down the road, you could have Lucas Raymond on the left flank with a right-handed shot. And he is so dynamic, so creative, has a scorer's mindset, but is also looking for his teammates. So those are two players that I think could really bring some oomph to the power play down the road.
Certainly a bright future ahead for Raymond here in Detroit. Thank you all for taking the time to join us on this edition of the Motor City Faceoff. We always love when you guys join us here, so be sure to like, subscribe, and share. We just want to be your one-stop shop for everything Detroit sports. So everyone have a great night, and thank you for joining us. Puck drop is at 7:30.